Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop out here in the heavenly backyard garden. It is now early April and the dahlias are beginning to wake up from their winter sleep. And they're looking pretty good. However, some of them didn't quite make it. Well, they didn't make it at all. And it wasn't so much because of the cold grounds, it was because of the wet grounds. And with that being said, I decided to mix the soil with some sand to help with that drainage so that next winter, they won't rot in the ground, hopefully, during the cold, wet winters that we have here in the heavenly backyard garden. So with that being said, let's take a look at a fresh dahlia tuber and let's get it ready to plant. Welcome to heavenly backyard gardening. All right, let's take a look at a fresh tuber. This is the way it's sent to me in the mail, and the tubers are packed usually in a stagnant peat moss or wood shavings, usually. And this is a tuber right here. And it doesn't look like much right now, but if you ever grew potatoes, and I'm growing potatoes, and I've showed you those videos in the past, they don't look like much until they start to grow. And these are very similar to tomatoes. Now, here is the growing stalk right here. This is where the stem came up last year. And right around the crown, there are some very, very small little rough spots. Those are where the eyes are going to start coming out. And that's where you're going to start getting the growth. Now, this little guy here, that's going to do me no good. So I'm just going to get rid of that. It's not necessary. I'm just going to cut that off. The main energy is in these big tubers here. And so what I want to do is I just prepared the soil, and so getting down there, the soil is a mixture of compost, worm casting, bone meal. They like that phosphorus, and some little vegetable garden food. It's low on nitrogen, high in phosphorus and potassium, and the dahlias do like potassium and phosphorus. And a little bit of nitrogen, but don't go overboard on the nitrogen. That'll produce too much green growth and you won't get great flower production. But you get better flower production with the phosphorus and the potassium in the mix. So with that being said, let's put the dahlia in. Here's one right here. I'm going to put a couple in here. They usually send me 5 in a bag. And you know, by first looking at this thing, you think it would never ever grow, but it will. It's going to take about 2 weeks for this to wake up, maybe even 3 weeks for this one to wake up. But I'm going to put it in there. And I got one more. This one here is called Lilac Time. And I had Lilac Time growing here last year, but again, it's one of the ones that didn't quite make the cold, wet winters, and the tubers rotted. These tubers are pretty firm. That's a good sign. So, and they like to sleep during the winter, and these guys, hey, wake up, you, wake up. Get this thing to wake up, and we'll get it. Sometimes, I guess you have to talk to your tubers or your plants. Okay, and then I just cover it up to the top of the crown with this nice mix of soil I have prepared here. Hopefully better drainage than I had last year. And just going to pack it in a little bit. And then the next important step here is to put the label on it. There it is. Well, actually, I got one right here. Lilac Time. Pretty lilac color dahlia. So it's going to go right here. And we'll take it from there. And one last thing before we move on into the garden is this is the time also to stake or cage your dahlias. I like to use tomato cages. They work wonderful. And you want to put them in before the plant starts to grow, and if you wait too long, the plants will get too large and makes it very difficult with one person to place a cage over the growing plant. But this is the time to put that cage down in. There it goes, right there. And this one's ready to go. Lilac Time. Let's take a look at another way of planting dahlias, and that's pre-starting them. I took several of these type tubers here last February, about 6 weeks ago, and I started them in the greenhouse, or I woke them up in the greenhouse, and now they're starting to grow. So let's put one of those right over here. Now, here we have one that I started in the greenhouse in late February, early March, about 5 weeks ago anyway. And this one's called Holland Festival. And, oh, this is a beautiful, I mean, they're all beautiful, but this one is also beautiful. Okay, anyway, I prepared the hole just the way I prepared the other one. And now I'm going to take the dahlia out of the pot itself. So I'm going to get my hands underneath it and lift it. So I don't want to disturb the tubers. But there, you can see the nice growth that I have associated with this dahlia right here. This one's ready to go. And I'm going to put it into the hole itself right now. So let's do that. That's a little bit too low. Let's bring it up a little bit. Again, this is all mixed well. That'll go right there. And just mix it on in. Now, one of my faults that I have probably is I put them too close together, but I like them tight. As long as they get good airflow and sunlight, they'll be fine. But I like to plant them close. Plus, they actually help hold each other up if they get out of their cages. All right, this one's ready to go. Where's my label? Right here, Holland Festival. And got a weed. I'll put the cage on it and we're all set to go. Another good reason to prepare the soil deeply, it makes it easier to put these cages in. Sometimes they hit some rough spots. There we go. Holland Festival. Now, here's a tip to help produce more flowers on your dahlias. I know everybody, you always want to get the flower to come out early, and that's always a good thing. And usually that first flower is a big flower. But do you want one big flower and then a bunch of tiny ones, or do you want a bushy plant with medium to large size flowers? I want the medium to large size flowers on a bushy type plant. So when the plant gets about this high, with about 3 or 4 stems of leaves coming out, what you want to do is pinch them. That's almost sacrificial. You want to pinch the tops of the dahlias. So what I'm going to do is my scissors here, I'm going to take it right above this node here where the leaves are coming out, and it's going to take that area there, and I'm just going to cut it like so. And this branch right here, or stem coming off, I really didn't kill it. I mean, it's detached from the plant, but I can root this if I want to and try to. What I'm going to do is just cut off these 2 bottom leaves here. And I have this stem right here. So what I can do here is dip this in rooting powder and then put it into another pot of potting soil with a seed starting mix and perlite, so it has good drainage but it stays moist. And I did this one about 3 weeks ago, and let's see if it has any roots on it yet. And sure enough, it's already got roots coming out. So I have a new plant from a sacrificial lamb that I cut off, similar to this. And I'm going to do this one as well. This one here, who is this? This is Sunny Boy. Oh, that's a pretty pink ball dahlia. So hopefully I'll get another Sunny Boy from this, from sacrificing the other plant. And in the process, I'm going to get 2 to 4 new branches coming out of this growth right here, out of that one particular stem. And one last tip when you plant the dahlias, if there are dry tubers like the ones that just came out of the bag, you want to plant them and then lightly water them, and then don't water them until they start to grow, or else you have the issue that they could be too wet for too long and rot, particularly if it gets cold. Once they started growing though, you want to keep an eye on the water and keep them moist continuously. Keep them moist. The ideal is to water deep, like twice a week or so. Water deep, and that should help them a lot. But don't let them dry out. Don't let them dry out. Now I got more dahlia gardens behind me. I got this one. This is actually an extension from last year. Everywhere from here to here is an extension, and over here is an extension on the back side of the holly tree. And then further back, I got two other large dahlia gardens, and when they are in full bloom and in full growth, it's just like walking down one of the lanes of heaven. I mean, it's just fantastic. And once you start growing dahlias, you'll be bit. It's hard to stop because I love daylilies. Don't get me wrong, I love daylilies, and I'm hooked on daylilies. But once you start growing dahlias, you just want to grow more and more and more of them. Plus, the other advantage of dahlias is that once they start blooming, and in my area here, I'm in 9A, once they start blooming here, that's usually these ones I pre-started in the greenhouse, they might start blooming in early May, most likely by mid-May, and then late May. But then the other ones that have been sleeping during the winter, when they wake up, they start blooming in late May and in June. But that's the start. Once they start blooming, if you deadhead them carefully and keep an eye on them, they'll bloom all summer long into the autumn months. I have dahlias in bloom here in May, June, July, August, September, October. I've even had some in bloom in November. So I really like these daylilies, and well, these aren't daylilies, they're dahlias. The daylilies are over there, and take a look at that. Those are the daylilies, but the dahlias are over here. And I give them, in my location, some partial shade. In milder climates, they need full sun, but it gets really hot out here, and the sun is really intense. It gets high up in the sky. And at the peak of the summer months, on the solstice of June 21st thereabouts, the sun angle here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden is at 82 degrees above the horizon at high noon. So it's extremely intense sun. And so I give them partial shade. Now, the ones over there, they're in morning sun, afternoon shade, and that's ideal. Now, over here, they get morning shade, but then afternoon sun. They're both getting the same amount of sunshine, but these get the hot afternoon sun. They'll survive, but you want to look at them before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Between 1 o'clock in the afternoon and about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they are stressed and they look wilted. They're okay, but they look wilted. And then they come back after 6 o'clock, they're looking great again. And the next day it starts all over again. But yeah, the dahlias, they're coming up. There's one that overwintered, and it's coming up strong right now. And some others didn't quite make it. I'm working on replacing those. Again, not so much from the cold, but from the soggy, wet, cold winter that we had here. So I'm trying to alleviate that by adding a little bit more sand and digging the whole area a little bit deeper so it has much better drainage. So it's a combination of sand, compost, lots of compost, and some good fertile soil as well, loamy soil. And then again, the bone meal, the phosphorus, that's the bone meal, potassium, earthworms casting, I added that as well, a little bonus, and then some 5, 10, 12 type fertilizer there. So I'm looking forward to the dahlias in bloom here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden. So stick around throughout the summer months. I'll be showing you those dahlias as they are blooming here in the garden, along with the daylilies and the vegetables. I'm growing vegetables, as you know, as well. The tomatoes, they're doing great. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.